The boy suddenly noticed something by the lake. A naked woman had appeared. She lured a soldier toward her. The woman kissed him gently, and the soldier, mesmerized, dropped his weapon. He didn't notice that her feet were actually bird claws. The boy saw it all. Unexpectedly, the woman turned her head, as if warning the boy not to ruin his own luck. Her eyes terrified him. After they disappeared, a girl suddenly appeared before him. Her name was Elati. It was their first meeting, and at that moment, the boy couldn't have imagined that this mischievous girl would change his fate. Suddenly, the sound of a horn reached him. When he returned to the village, he learned that his father had taken his own life in the recent battle, refusing to be captured. The next moment, huge chunks of snow fell from the sky, crushing all the invaders, securing the victory. The villagers thanked God, unaware that it was actually the Lord who had sacrificed his life to make it happen. The boy was too young to inherit the lordship, so leadership temporarily fell to his grandfather, until he came of age. 15 years later, the boy, now named Nick, had become a warrior. He had intended to inherit the lordship, but because his grandfather was gravely ill, full power fell into Martin's hands. On his deathbed, Nick's grandfather instructed him to bury his father and himself together. To fulfill this wish, the villagers had to open Nick's father's tomb, but the tribes which tried to stop them, warning of terrible consequences. Still, they opened the grave. When the coffin was lifted, Nick suddenly saw a terrifying creature. The coffin did not contain human bones. Seeing this, Martin began spreading rumors that the Lord was the embodiment of a demon, and that Nick's bloodline was impure, disqualifying him from inheriting the lordship. The bishop decreed that Nick had 7 days to find his father's remains. Otherwise, the lordship would pass to Martin. Nick had no choice but to ask the witch about the whereabouts of his father's body. He learned that years ago, his father had made a pact with the mother of the forest, and his remains were now in her possession. The witch's foster daughter, Elati, could guide him there, but a woman secretly overheard this conversation, and sold the information to Martin. Martin immediately sent people to follow Nick. The next day, Nick and Elati entered the forest. Soon, Nick's horse refused to cross a creek. Elati understood the horse's fear. She explained that the creek had once been filled with the tears of a banshee. After Martin and his men had overlogged the area, the banshee had vanished. Once Elati calmed the horse, it obediently stepped into the creek. It turned out Elati had the ability to communicate with animals. As soon as they reached the other side, Elati heard a cry of pain. She suddenly ran off, and Nick had no choice but to follow. Eventually, he saw her trying to pull a cross out of a mound of earth. Nick rushed forward to stop her, but in the next second, the cross was pulled free, and blood flowed from the mound. After they left, the mound that had been disturbed rose on its own. It turned out Elati had just lifted a seal.